I've been in dogs since 1991. We breed dogs that we want to train. I was out here in western Nebraska riding Harleys and training dogs. I don't sugarcoat anything, and if you don't like it, tough.
Welcome to the Flatlander Kennels podcast with Chris Jobman. I am Elliott, and I'm here with the one and only Chris Jobman. We've been talking puppies, and we weren't recording. I'm like, we got to hit record. We got some puppies coming.
How are you, bud? Yeah, we were just rambling on talking about the new litters we got coming, and we're pretty excited about it. That would have been a good. We'll talk about it right now. But if anybody's out there looking for a puppy, we should have two litters coming. One is due tomorrow, honestly, and that is out of 11-time Grand Hunter Retriever champion Flash, Master Hunter, MNH4, QA2, and that's everybody know we talk about him all the time. And that we bred him to a dog named Faith, and Faith came out of a breeding with Barley and Isla. And Barley was a 3-time Grand Champion, MH, MNR, and Isla, who is Linda, Red, and Georgie's mother. She's a Grand Hunter Retriever champion, Master Hunter, MNH. So this is the closest breeding that we can get to repeating the Red, Georgie, Linda litter. There's some other puppies that were absolutely phenomenal. Like I'm talking, so I'm hoping to kind of recreate that litter with this one. And Faith is an HRCH Master Hunter. She's a nice dog. So we're hoping to recreate. These are going to be all black puppies, and they're going to be chocolate factored because Faith is chocolate. Isla was chocolate. So her mother was chocolate, and her dad was. So should be a really nice litter. The problem we have is we get an X-ray last week, and they only saw 2. Hopefully, there's one hiding back there or 2 hiding back there. But we're going to be. Could there be a total of 4 from that X-ray? There could be some more hidden back there. She's pretty big. But Flash produces big puppies. She should be she's pretty big for just 2 puppies. So I hope there's more than 2, because here's the problem. If you have a small litter like that, sometimes they need to be a C-section because they're too big. Hopefully that isn't the case, but she looks really big. She looks really big. So if she has 2 really big pups, correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
We're hoping there's more than that, but she's pretty big. So if anybody out there looking for a Flash puppy, this is the one for you. Now I will tell you, there is going to be some stipulations on this litter and our other litter. They're going to go to people who are going to put them in training with us first. Because like I said, we've talked about this 1,000 times. We're not quote unquote breeders. We breed dogs that we want to train. And that's the whole key, is to get them back into training to be players. And I'm not saying they have to be hunt test clients, but they have to at least come in for the gun dog training, which is 4 to 6 months. So if anybody's out there looking for a Flash puppy, like I said, recreate that litter as close as we can. We're going to have them. Give me a call. I haven't even advertised them yet. This is our first time people have heard about it. I haven't even advertised them yet. So, but like I said, they're going to come up with some stipulations where we want them dogs back in training. Like that's, for at least a gun dog program, and hopefully more than that. So then another breeding we have is we're super excited about. We own a dog named Rainey, who is a Grand Hunter Retriever champion. She's a Master Hunter, and she's a Master National Retriever. She's an MNR. She'll hopefully get her MNH this fall. She is phenomenal. She's a black dog. She is out of AFC Ali and a Master Hunter QA2 bitch. She is, Elliot, when I say this, she is one of the best dogs I've ever touched in my entire life. She is an absolute beast of an animal. Very sweet, house dog, the whole deal. But she is an unbelievable dog. And we bred her to a dog named Blitz, who was owned by a good friend of mine and client, Bill Maggart. And he has 3 grand passes. He's never failed a grand. He's got his Master Hunter title, and he's got his MNH. And I don't think he's ever failed a national event. But he's retired now. And so this is going to be and that's a black. He's black. So these are going to be all black puppies. he is yellow factored. She is not color factored at all. So there are going to be some puppies in there that'll be yellow factored, but they're going to be all black puppies. Blitz is probably top 5 best hunt test marking dogs I've ever touched in my life. You cannot hide a bird from this dog. He is unbelievable. So we are super, super excited about this breeding. So if anybody's curious about that, shoot me a message. And like I said, both of these breedings we're doing because we want to train the dogs. Now I'm not, if Rainey has a bigger litter, 7, 8, 9, 10, which then, we could, they'll go to other homes, but we would like them dogs to come back into training for us for at least a gun dog program. That's why we did the breeding. So anybody's out there looking for great puppies, we probably have 2 of them coming. I think Rainey is due like July 3rd. So July 3rd, but we don't know if she's pregnant for sure yet or not, but she looks like she is. But if anybody's out there looking for puppies, give me a call. They're going to be unbelievable.
So you just love training good dogs, don't you?
I love training good dogs. I do. And Eileen does a phenomenal job with the litters and the socialization and all that stuff. She loves it, but I love training good dogs. Like I really do, especially, and these will be our first, if Rainey is pregnant, this will be our first Rainey puppies and our first Blitz puppies we've ever trained. So, and then of course we've trained a pile of Flash puppies. And if I could take Flash Jet breaker type puppies, I would rule the world. But, and then we have some other phenomenal breedings coming up later in the year. But as of right now, that's the 2 that we have. We've kind of backed off of our breeding program the last couple of years. And we started getting them back into it again because we had enough dogs, we had enough puppies coming in, that sort of thing. But we kind of want a new influx of some new blood and some different stuff. So that's kind of why we did what we did. So anybody's out there, just give me a call.
So you said you've got some master hunt tests coming up? So
this last weekend, we went to Custer, South Dakota. We ran a double master at one of the best clubs out there in the world, the Mount Rushmore Retriever Club. They're fantastic. Dale and Mary and Pat and all them guys up there and Alan, they are an unbelievable club. Sam Black and Mark, his dad. And
is that the one up near Casper, or is that a different one?
No, this is in South Dakota. This is South
Dakota.
South Dakota, straight north of us, about 3 hours in the Black Hills of South Dakota. It is the most beautiful hunt test you've ever seen in your life. This place is absolutely incredible. We did a good job. The dogs ran well. We went 30 or 35 in master. It was a double master. We ran 18 the first test, 17 the second test. Got to give a shout out to Huck Yoakum. He got his master hunter title. That's a Linda puppy. So he did a really nice job. And he's really becoming a really nice dog. He kind of a little bit of a slower start to his career, but man, he's starting to put it together now and looks phenomenal. He had a good run. He went deep into the grand and now he's got his master title. So we're really happy with him. But like I said, we went 30 or 35 and we had a good showing. There's a few dogs, did some goofy stuff, double handles we lost a couple dogs on double handles in the last series. So we almost, had a really, really good showing, but I'm getting ready to leave again on Wednesday morning to Butte, Montana to run another double master and up there. And then I'll come home from that. And that's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday test. That's a 6-day trip. I'm exhausted, man, because what people don't understand is the grand is like 5 days long, right? I just ran a double master that was 4 days long. So It's like running a grand. Like I'm shot and I'm getting ready to go to Montana again. And then once we get home from Montana, our first hunt test in June is open here already at the kennel. We'll run that. And we got 2 doubles here July. We'll run those. And hopefully we won't have to go anywhere else, but, there might be a dog or 2 that needs a pass and we might have to send them somewhere, but, hopefully we don't have to do that. But we're busy right now. And Tanner's getting ready to run Hidden Pines HRC, in a couple weeks in Cheyenne. And so we're full steam ahead right now. And we're pretty busy and we're hitting it pretty hard right now.
How's your weather been? Have you guys been getting any of this rain?
Man, it was pretty good a week or 2 ago. We got some pretty good rains and we had thunderstorms all the way around us. We're supposed to get a pretty good thunderstorm tonight. It's building up all the way around us. The problem we have now is this last weekend, it was 100 degrees on Saturday and Sunday.
Good Lord.
It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe how hot it was, but it was 100. It's cooled down today, but tomorrow's supposed to be 95. So we're trying to, hopefully we get some rain and this heat doesn't dry us out even worse than we already are. But we're hanging in there for the moisture anyway. But north of us is getting hammered. You guys got a bunch of rain. The eastern Nebraska got a bunch of rain. We aren't getting it. Now we've gotten a little bit, but we're optimistic we're going to get more rain. I'm not even going to hay my place this year because I'm scared to death that they're going to shut our water off on us for irrigation. So I'm not going to hay it because if we hay it and they shut our water off in July or August or whatever, it's not going to grow back. It'll just be barren wasteland. So I'm going to keep the grass that we have. And I'm going to manage it a little bit with the mower, the big tractor, and cut it down a little bit. But I'm not going to hay our place just because of that.
Yeah.
But
all right. Well, we're going to do a Q&A today. We got a bunch of questions built up. If you want to go straight to the top of the list with the questions, you want to go to patreon.com/Jobman and join us over there. I've been posting a lot of videos from my time out at Flatlander Kennels where Chris was coaching me, all sorts of extra content over there. And you can get signed up for the hunt giveaway. I watched that video that I made of our hunt. Man, I got to pat myself on the back. I did a good job on that.
It was a good video. It was when you shot the 3 and what did you shoot? You shot your limit of geese in 2 shots or something.
I shot 4. Yeah, I shot 4 geese in 3 shots.
4 3. That was cool.
Well, that felt good because that was coming off the 28 gauge 410 debacle where I made myself look like I didn't know how to shoot a shotgun. And then we get in those pit lines and 4 geese come in. And it was that was one of the highlights that was probably the highlight of the season. Because I had shot so crappy in the morning. It's just you and I in that blind and those 4 little geese come in and I killed all 4 of them.
That was awesome. That was great. That was great. I didn't have to shoot any geese. That was even better.
So you guys come on over to patreon.com/Jobman and you can have a chance to, and Patreon takes a while to build. There's not that many people over there. So your odds of winning this are going to be quite good.
They are
compared
good
to most giveaways. Yep. It'll be right there in between Christmas and New Year's Day. There'll be a 3-day period where I will be out at the lodge and you will hunt with me and Chris 2 or 3 days. And man, it was so much fun. You're going to absolutely love it. We're going to do that giveaway sometime in October. We'll have a live stream and do that giveaway. The only way that you can get entered is by going to patreon.com/Jobman and you can join the live stream and watch the live stream. Your questions go right to the front of the list, all sorts of perks over there. So it's only $10 a month or something is what that's what it is. So get on over there and sign up.
2 cups of coffee, basically.
Yeah. Anymore, it's like 1 cup of coffee. It's unbelievable.
I don't drink coffee, so I have no idea what that mud water even costs.
What's the matter with you?
It's so gross. Coffee. I cannot do it. I have tried. It looks good. It smells good. I can't do it. I've tried.
Does Eileen drink coffee?
Oh yeah, she loves it. No, she absolutely loves it. And she gets all the fancy stuffs and the venti latte foam.
I don't know if I'd want to be your friend if Eileen wasn't there. I'm just saying.
You know what? You're not the only person that says that. You just get in line. Get in line. All
right. Tell everyone about Merino decoys.
Okay. Yeah. My buddy, Mike Merino decoys. He's a custom hand carver of decoys in Southern Colorado there. And he does, and I might be a little bit biased, but it's probably the best hand carved decoys I've ever seen. He just did for Rhett Riddle, that everybody knows Rhett's a good friend of mine, and Crown passed away, and Crown picked up all 42 species, the first dog to ever do it of waterfowl of North America. He just got Crown's urn back. Yeah. And he did a cinnamon teal that is absolutely incredible. It is unbelievable. And so what he did is we had 2 of them made for him. One is an urn that sits in his house with some of Crown's ashes, and one is an urn that he can hunt over. And Crown's ashes are in both of them, and they are absolutely incredible. So Mike Marino does dog urns that you can hunt over. He does custom decoys you can hunt over. He can do anything. It is the best decoy I've ever seen. So give Mike Marino at Marino Decoys a call, and I'm going to try to get some pictures of this cinnamon teal, and I'm going to put it on our Facebook page so people can see it. It's absolutely incredible.
Chris, if you send it to me, I can put it here. I can edit it and put it in. Guys, if you want to see the video version of this, the best place to watch this show is Spotify. That's where it's a video version of it. And so if you actually send that to me within the next couple of days, Chris, I'll lace it in here so people can actually see it on if they're watching on Spotify.
I'm texting him right now, and I'm gonna get it right. It is. You should see this thing. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So go to merinodecoys.com, check out what he's got. And I absolutely, with my other podcast and this one, I love working with entrepreneurs, because when it's not a corporation and it's just like an entrepreneur that really, they put so much more quality. The quality control by people that are just driven to create something is because corporations make decisions based on the bottom line. They evaluate. It's like, oh, should we do this? Well, are we going to make more money? Well, no, we're not. So we're not going to make this choice. Where an entrepreneur like Merino, it's like all their heart goes into something. It's like the craftsmanship, the passion. So I love working with the individuals. And another partner that we just brought on, second time we're talking about him, is Flight Day Ammo. It's my personal friend, Ben Myers. I know him. I know what he has done to grow this business. And he has kind of broke the code. Is what happened in the shotgunning industry is when my first year hunting was 1991. That was the first year that you couldn't use lead. So I've never duck hunted with lead. And I know that steel could not kill anything those first few years. And the common understanding became that it wasn't fast enough, when the problem was actually chokes and bores. And so the whole industry decided to sell us this pack of lies that you have to shoot 1550, 1600 out of steel to get to kill ducks. And you had to come down to size 2. And that's absolutely false. What you need to do is have a better pattern. And with these modern day ballistics, with the better powders, the better wads, the better primers, if you keep that speed a little lower, 1300, 1250, you can use a maximum payload shell. Like in a 12 gauge 3, you'll get an ounce and 3/8 of actual pellets. And your pellet count is so much more. You get so many more pellets if you slow down the speed. And also when you slow down the speed, it holds the pattern together. I've patterned Flight Day against 10 other companies. And Flight Day at 40 yards, we're using a Muller choke, can put high 70s to low 80% of your pellets inside a 30 diameter circle at 40 yards. And all the other competitors I tried, and I tried, like I said, 10 others, it was high 60s, low 70s. I mean, the pattern is incredible. So when you match that extra pellet count, and then you go 77 to 84% of your pellets inside that circle, it's just a better load. You're going to kill more ducks. And so go to flightdayammo.com, FLK10 for 10% off. I promise you, it's the steel you want to be shooting. Now the business prices have just gone through the roof. No one's making it anymore. This is the steel that you want to shoot. The industry eventually is going to catch up to this idea that you can slow it down. But right now it's like the speed thing sells. So you don't want to go the speed. You want to slow it down and do more pellets. So Flight Day Ammo. All right. Last one, Mammoth Guardian Dog Crate. Tell us about that one, Chris, real quick. We'll get to our
Mammoth Guardian Dog Crates. They are a cool product. They are a high end dog crate. They rank right up there with the higher end dog crates that you buy. I really enjoy. I have 4 of them, and we use them in the kennel. We have some dogs that just can't live in a normal kennel environment at night. They are too busy. They're moving around. They're so we use those crates. They sleep in a crate at night. They're safe and whatever. But we have rollers. They have wheels on the bottom, and we can roll them around. We can move them around. We can clean them out. And they have this really cool cage around them. You can either have the cage on it or not. But we have the cages on them. We have to put the rollers on them, and they're cool. They have it's like a roll cage, like for a dog kennel. So if you don't want a heavy kennel, you don't have the cage on it. But if you want to have a cage on it, it gets them a little bit heavier, but not bad at all.
But even so, with the cage, I can pick it up and just put it in my truck, even with the roll cage on it.
It's not
with
bad
like some
all.
of those roto molded products. I had an extra large. I'm not gonna say the name of it. It's like roto. I had to sell it because it was so damn heavy. I couldn't put it in my truck.
They're so heavy. They're so heavy. And this roll cage is great. And then what I really like about it, I think my favorite, besides the roll cage, my favorite item on the kennel is probably their door. They have a 3-point locking system on their door that goes up into metal. It's fantastic. With that roll cage and that 3-point locking system, I think it's a great product, and I'm really happy with the ones we use.
And you're going to pay about 40% less than a lot of the big brands.
For sure.
So it's a no-brainer.
For 40% less, and for me, I think it's the same. It's the same safety value you get
when you get the roll cage attachment. It's every bit as safe.
For sure. I agree with that for sure.
All right, let's go ahead. You ready to hit some questions here?
Yeah, let's do this though first, Elliot. I want to address something that I saw on Facebook today, and before we get to the questions, I texted it to you. I'm gonna let you read it. Look at your phone because I don't read very well. I'm just a dog trainer. I'm not a teacher like you, so I'm gonna let you read. I just saw this on it was on another Facebook page today, and I thought, you know what, that's a really good question to answer on our podcast. Let's break. I'm going to talk about this, and then we'll get into our questions.
Oh man, this has 45 comments on it, so this must be a hot topic.
Here we go. And this says,
question for the pros. Suppose you take a client's dog in at 7 months. Adult teeth are in, ready for force fetch. Obedience is good. Dog is doing singles and cover. Give me a breakdown of where you would expect an average dog to be in a program at 4, 5, 6 months. I know every dog is different. You have the fire breathers and soft dogs, but just give an average of all the dogs in those timelines. I'm assuming most clients send their dogs at 4 to 6 months unless they are chasing titles. Might be a useful tool for people that are sending dogs to professional trainers to see what they can expect. Oh, I guarantee you there's so many amateurs and they're like, my dog could do backflips at 2 weeks.
Oh, I know. So I'm going to address this. So first off, let's break it down. 7-month-old, that's a great time to start. 6, we start them at 5, 6, 7 months old here. That's a great time to start. When they say, I've had this happen a ton of times. Oh, the obedience is good. You don't have to worry about that. It's not. We have gotten literally almost 0 dogs in at 6 months old that their on-leash obedience was good enough for us to not do all on-leash obedience. So when it says the obedience is good and that's great, that's a good start, and doing singles and cover, that's a great start. But typically the obedience isn't up to our standard, so we spend time on that, of course. So let's just break it down. The average dog in a 4-month-old program, 4-month program. So our basic gun dog program here is a minimum of 4 months. Minimum. That gets you obedience, on-leash obedience. It gets you collar conditioning. It gets you force fetch. It gets you single marked retrieves, land in the water, through decoys. Now, that's on your average dog. We can usually get that done. But more times than not, you run into a hiccup. It may take you longer. So if you talk to another pro or you call another pro and say, oh, I can get all that done in 3 months, I guarantee it, hang up the phone. Because there is, and I tell this to people all the time, and I am very, very honest when it comes to this, hey, this other pro said he could get that done in 3 months. I'm like, well, send it to him because it's not going to happen. Here's the problem with putting a timeline on your dog. When you do that, you put undue pressure on that dog to get done at a certain time. Dogs do not follow human beings' timeline. We have to train the dog. So at an average dog at 4 months old, you can kind of expect, obedience, collar conditioning, force fetch, condition to gunfire, single marked retrieves, land in the water, that sort of thing. And every dog is very much different, much different. What I run into up here is they want upland training as well. So if you want your dog to be upland trained and waterfowl trained, you're looking at 6 months. To just be honest, that's two different disciplines that they've got to learn. And so you want it, and then, and you're not looking. So if your dog has been in a trainer for 4 months, don't expect it to be, they can be steady. Don't get me wrong. Now there's always exceptions to the rule, but a lot of times these dogs are come through, if they're a little bit nervous or whatever out of force fetch, they're down just a little bit. It happens all the time. you have to kind of let them break on marks and get their attitude up and let them run around and be maniacs. You want that to happen. Well, what ends up happening is a lot of times they start putting too much control on the dog, and then they start losing desire, and it's not fun for them. So a lot of times these dogs come out of force fetch, we've got to let them break, kind of be wild maniacs, get their prey drive cranking again and make them happy again. So this is a loaded question, and I hate, I'll be honest with you, I hate this question because what this guy is probably doing is he's wanting to know where if he sends his dog off, where it's going to be. And if you're worried about timeline, you're worried about expense, and you're worried about money, that's a really hard thing to do, because when owners start, let's just say, hey, I only have 5 months saved up to have your dog trained. When owners start that, they start putting undue pressure on the trainer to get the dog done quicker, because it's a money issue. And I get it. I understand it. It's not cheap. I understand that. But you also, as an owner, have to understand dogs don't care about your finances. They don't care about any of that. So if you hire a good pro and you trust the pro, and I'm just going to be very frank, we don't care about your timeline. It's like, you hired us to train your dog to the best of our ability, right? And so that's what you hired us to do. And if you could do it yourself, you would. So what I'm trying, and I'm not trying to be mean or ugly, but we just don't care about your timeline. Now, granted, we're very conscious about, pushing the dog when it's properly pushed and pushing at appropriate time, backing. Sometimes you got to back off the dog, let it grow up a little bit, simplify, then push again. So it's an ebb and flow training. It's ups and downs. And if you're worried about money, that's the biggest problem. Like, hurry. Well, then you get some of these pros that, okay, I'll hurry. And then all of a sudden your dog is mentally a mess because it got pressure when it shouldn't have got pressure, because you're putting pressure on the trainer to get done. That's a very, very bad situation. So these scare me. And sometimes the fire breathing dragons, they love to do it. It won't take as long. Sometimes they take longer because they're crazy. They're crazy. So if you put them in a hunting situation, like you're training, they start making noise, like, and you're like, okay, it'd be good enough because the dog's got to go home next week. That's not right either. That dog needs to be backed up and needs to simplify, and you need to work on just basic obedience and getting that dog mentally ready. Just because they're a fire breathing dragon doesn't mean they're going to take less time than a soft dog. Sometimes they take longer because they're crazy. And you push them too much, they just explode. So this is a very hard situation. I've read some of the comments like, I'll have that dog running pattern blinds in 5 months. Okay, sounds good. No, you won't. No, you won't. I mean, it's and here's the problem. And I'm gonna stop with this. If you talk to a trainer and they say, I guarantee you I'll have that dog running pattern blinds in 5 months or 4 months, or I'll have it through the gun dog program in 3 months, you need to hang up, because there is no way possible that they know that. It's impossible. You don't even know the dog. You don't know anything about that's impossible. If your trainer says, you know what, our minimum is gun dog is 4 to 6 months, we'll do the best we possibly can. I promise you we'll work as hard as we can. If the dog likes to retrieve, we'll get the most out of it we can. That's the best answer that you can get, because those trainers are being honest and they know what it takes, and they're just being honest with you, and you need to accept that as an owner, to be honest. Because if you start hammering timelines, then that's like just telling your teacher, hey, I want my kid, he is smart, I taught him his ABCs, and I think he should graduate high school at 16 years old. That doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. And they all learn differently, and you're going to come into bumps in the road. Just because you gave that dog a good start, which is fantastic, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that the dog is going to fly through training, because this dog is through basic obedience and doing singles. Okay, great. It hasn't been through collar conditioning yet. It hasn't been through force fetch yet. So you don't know how mentally tough the dog actually is. So you can't say how far you're going to get. You just can't say it. So that's a loaded question there. The comments were very interesting. Friend of mine, Christopher Scott on there. His comment was fantastic. Like you just read that. But anyway, I'm going to quit ranting about it. That stuff right there. That's where you said, so like when money's a problem, and let's just say most pros are $1,000 a month, somewhere in there, but you find a pro that charges you $450. Oh, I'm going to go there because it's cheaper. It's not going to be cheaper. I promise you that, because a lot of times those guys, I'm not saying they're not good trainers, but usually you get what you pay for. And there's that meme out there that says, I call them memes because meme doesn't make any sense to me. Meme should be MEEM. Meme. It's meme. It should be anyway. That's one of my weird. Anyway, but so there's a meme out there that says, if you want, what does it say? Something about if you want to save money on something about a trainer. Anyway, it's you get what you pay for. Find a good pro, trust the pro, and let the pro do the job. And I promise you, a good pro will always do. And I always say, this sounds mean, and I don't mean it to be mean, but I just tell people, listen, you hired me to train your dog, not to stroke your ego. And it's not on your timeline. It's on the dog's timeline. So if you trust me, or another good pro out there, then let them do their jobs. And be honest with you. Hey, I've only got X amount of dollars to spend. Let's try to get it done. Like, absolutely, we'll do the best we possibly can with what we got. And then that's I'm done ranting about that. So I don't know if I made any sense or not, but we're done with it.
All right. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for questions now?
Let's do it.
All right, this one comes off Patreon. This was from Wayne. Wayne says, I trained one dog to heel to my right because I shoot left-handed so I can look down and keep a better eye on him, and my other dog on my left because the wife is supposed to run her at tests. Is this worth changing her to my right because I do most of her tests? Is there any benefits to which side depending on shouldering the gun? She is 2 and will be starting finished this summer.
No. So this is a good question. When I shoot left-handed. I'm left eye dominant, but I'm right-handed. All of my dogs heel on the left. It doesn't matter if you shoot left-handed or right-handed. My buddy Dave Marsteller, you can see him right there on Spotify if you're watching or wherever you're at. He's little Opie Taylor in the corner right there. He's left-handed, shoots left-handed, and all his dogs heel on the right. So there's in my opinion, and you do the same thing. You put Georgia on your right because you shoot left-handed.
Correct.
It doesn't really matter. I'll be quite honest with you, because I've hunted out of layout blinds and my dogs are on the left side in a dog hut, and I shoot left-handed. It doesn't really matter what side you heel them on. I prefer the dogs heeling on the left because 99.9% of the dogs that we train, besides Dave's, when we have some of them sometimes, are on the left, and I am more comfortable with the dog on the left than I am on the right.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really matter. You can teach them to dual-sided heeling if you'd like. And if, your wife hunts them, you can hunt one side, they hunt the other side. But I keep everything on my left. It doesn't, and I shoot left-handed, so it doesn't really matter.
All right. Next question, Dan Flynn. What drills or setups do you like to use for HRCH dogs coming out of hunting season, lying on the couch, preparing for a test season, working towards a master hunter title? I think you've covered this topic before, but a refresher would be nice.
We've covered this topic of death before. Get them in, just gotta get them back in shape. You run singles, run some simple cold blinds, but the biggest thing is you gotta shut most of these hunting dogs that have hunted a lot. So a retriever's number one asset they have is everybody thinks it's their nose. It's not their nose. It's their eyes. Their eyes tell them where to go, and then their nose finds a bird when they get there. If the number one, and this happens a lot with pheasant hunting dogs that do the retriever game too. If you think a dog's nose is number one asset on the retriever world, and here's why it's not. There's that thing called drag back. And what that means is when the dog goes and gets a retrieve, especially when you're running a hunt test, You got 100 dogs bringing back a bird through the tall grass. If your dog's number one, if it believes its nose more than its eyes, it's never going to get to the bird because it hits drag back and it goes into hunt mode. And it starts quartering and never find the bird. Pheasant hunting dogs are notorious for this. When we first get them back, they're hard to deal with because we got to start our mark shorter and shorter cover. We got to turn their nose off, and then they start trusting their eyes again. So when you get them back out of hunting season, run lots of singles, get them through the cover, teach them to turn their eyes back on again, run some simple cold blinds. Usually your handling will go down. It'll be affected by, hunting dog a lot of times, especially pheasant hunting dogs or whatever. But if the wind's blowing right to left, you got crosswind blinds, crosswind marks. They'll fade with the wind because they're using their nose more. So you've got to work on, the discipline of fighting the factors, fighting wind, fighting drag back, and just start slow. And you've got to build up their endurance. It's not a bad idea if it's not too hot to road them on a 4-wheeler a little bit on some property where it's safe and get them back in shape. Because what you don't want to do is start them balls to the wall right off the bat. They can hurt themselves. They can blow their knees out. They can pull muscles, all kinds. You just got to get them going, relatively easy.
Next question's Jason Thompson. This one's kind of confusing, so we're going to take it slow. All right. Here was the setup was thrown, mark 1 and 2. His dog picked up mark 2. Throw mark 3 bird, in mouth, easy, and pick up mark 3. Run blind 1 and 2, then go pick up mark 1. Are you following me so far on this?
Yep.
Ozzy skipped the cover and pushed out left of the mark. Wind was crosswind left to right. Video, I don't know what this means. Video of picking mark 1 up. Everything else was done well. He chose not to handle when skipped over. He wanted to see if he remembered the mark or not. He had to handle to pick up the mark, was going to end up out of sight or back at the blind. His options were how to handle this he wants options of how to handle this training situation. He had no bird help at throwing the station, and wingers were completely hidden by cover. I hope you got all that.
Okay. I need to look at this. I saw this. Is this on our Facebook page?
Yeah, I believe so.
I need to find it because there was a video, and I train Ozzy. He's a 4-time Grand Henry Retriever champion, MH. He's a bad mamma jamma. I need to look at this video. So what I would do on this, I'm watching the video now, Jason. I just watched it. So what I would have done on that, you did everything right. You wanted to see if he remembered. He skipped. He went around the cover, which is a pretty significant piece of cover, a sagebrush, which if people haven't run in sagebrush, it is so difficult. He went around the cover. I get it. I know what you were doing. The wind was left to right. So he missed the mark upwind because he went around the cover. What I would have maybe done there is if he goes around the cover and misses the mark, I would have maybe recalled him, not handled him on the mark, but recalled him. And if anybody's listening to this is on our Facebook page. Jason put a nice video, a nice diagram, did a really good job explaining this. What I would have done is called him back, maybe did like a no-no drill or whatever, walk up to the cover, maybe close the distance on the cover, quack the winger again, make the winger quack, and or not quack. You don't have to. Ozzy is such a bad mamma jamba. I would have maybe walked up a little bit and talked him into the mark again and made him go through that cover because that cover is what pushed him left. Now, if he would have went around that cover and then self-corrected and found the mark, that's different. He knows where the mark's at. Because what you don't want to do is make these dogs machines where, and we had this discussion as hunt test this last weekend, is you get these technical angle cutters or cutting corners or going through cover. And if you make the training, there's a very fine line on training a proper line and overtraining where they take the line and not mark anymore. They're more worried about training than marking. There's a really fine line there. What I would have maybe done here, Jason, is call him back, maybe moved up or running from right where you were at, but call him back, talk him into the mark again. Talk him into it. And if he goes around the cover again, maybe move up and resend him. If you want him to hit that cover, go ahead and do that. Or call him back, quack the winger, and remind him where it's at. Like, hey, right there. And then talk him into it. And then if he goes around the cover again and he gets a mark, you're okay. If you want him to go through the cover, make him go through the cover. So there's a couple of different ways you could have handled that. I wouldn't have probably handled him. I would have probably, if you're worried about him, going through that cover, I would have maybe moved up him and resent him again, and then resent him without any pressure, without any color correction, without anything, because what you don't want to have him do is flare the other way and miss the mark the other side, or think he did something wrong, where he just went around the cover and missed the mark in sagebrush. But like I said, call him back, maybe resend, or quack the winger, resend, something like that to make him remember that, go through that cover, that sort of thing. But that's a good question. I just watched the video. That's a good video.
All right. Zach Snyder, I'd love to hear a detailed breakdown of Chris's thoughts on blind issues, how to handle things like auto casting, breaking down to hunt, looking around instead of the handler when stopped on a whistle, popping, loss of cast precision. This is a lot. At distance or in the last third of maybe we just pick out, you can't hit all of these.
Yeah,
podcast episodes on those.
Yeah.
So let's break it down.
Let's go to part one.
Okay. So how to handle the auto casting. Describe what that is and how you'd handle auto casting.
So auto casting is typically, it's one of two different things. It is either caused by a very impatient dog that is very impulsive and just wants to go, or it's caused by the handler handling too quickly. And what an auto cast is, you stop the dog, they look at you for a second, they just take off where they want to go. Usually, the dog is being cast too quick. And what I mean by that is you sit the dog and then you just cast. And so the dog is timing you on his auto cast. So a good rule of thumb, stop the dog, 1001, 1002, 1003, cast. If the dog auto casts on you, you stop him, you give him a low correction with like a 1 or something on the collar, tweet, correction, 1001, 1002, 1003, cast. And eventually they learn some patience. So that's like I said, it's caused by a couple different things. Very impulsive dog, young, just wants to get going, or you're handling too quick. What's the next part?
Breaking down to hunt.
See, it depends. Are you running the blind into the wind? That can cause dogs breaking down and drag back. That's a hard one to say, because when the dog breaks down to hunt on a blind, you blow the whistle, have him look at you. You can maybe give him a correction, a low pressure correction, and cast out of it. It depends on what the dog is doing, the dog's level. Like if it's an advanced dog, Grandmaster, HRCH, whatever they are, you can stop them, give them a low correction, verbal back, get them moving again, get them out of the hunt mode. If it's a young dog that's just in hunt mode because it's young, you maybe stop him, maybe walk up, cast him out. It all depends on the level of dog, on how to handle the correction. But typically, dogs, if you're running, like I said, into the wind, dogs are going to break down and start hunting. We typically run blinds at our back or a crosswind. So,
how about one more? Looking around instead of looking at the handler when stopped on a whistle.
There was another question on our Facebook page about this too. So that when they're looking around, so when you send the dog and they're looking for like where they're going to go, or they're looking for the blind pole, or they think they're smarter than you and they have it figured out. So what I do with that is you stop the dog and they start looking over their shoulder. I would tweet with a low pressure nick. Have them look at you. Good. Tweet, low pressure nick. Every time they look away, give them a whistle and a low pressure nick, and make them look at you, and just make them look. And what I would do with a dog like that, especially, I would take the blind poles away, because what's happening is is they're looking for a blind pole to finish the blind. They're looking a way to get out of the blind. Take the blind poles out of the equation. So if they do see a blind pole, they don't go running to it. Or so what they're doing is if they're stopping and looking at you, and let's just say you have a blind pole back there, and they're looking for that blind pole. They're looking left or looking right. They can't quite see it, right? And then all of a sudden they look at you and you cast them. Then they see the pole. That's exactly what they want. You're giving them exactly what they want by having, even though you cast the dog to the pole, they're getting what they want. They saw the pole, they got to run to it. So get the poles out of the equation. And you can move up as well. So if they're out there just looking around, you can, low pressure nicks with a whistle, and you can walk up closer to them like, hey, look at me. Look, pay attention. And then cast them. But like I said, get rid of the poles. Get rid of the poles.
I was at a training event last Saturday. My friend's getting ready for the Master Amateur National. There was 13 dogs, 4 or 5 guys. And I don't remember whose dog it was, but every time he blew the whistle, the dog would kind of like nonchalantly look left.
Yep.
Look right.
Yep.
And I was almost like a teenager, kind of like, is how it felt.
Yeah.
Was I reading that accurately?
Yeah. Yeah. And some of it's avoidance. Some of it too is they're looking away from you because they don't want to cast. They don't want to do the wrong thing, or it's caused by a couple of different things. It can be caused by pressure, like too much pressure on cast refusals, because they don't want to look at you because they're nervous about moving, and they know the longer they look away from you, they don't have to leave. Or it's just a really impulsive dog that thinks it knows better than you.
Right.
So you got to figure out what's causing it. But I would get rid of blind poles for sure. And you're right. It's like a teenager's like, leave me alone. I got this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or it's a avoidance thing. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Here's a comment from Eric Tizon. He says, I was personally coached by Chris Jobman for years. Now I need weekly counseling for my mental health.
That's probably right. Because he was so hard to teach that I had to ride his butt. Now he's probably got PTSD because he was just so hard to teach, I guess. So,
all right, Dan Flynn, another one from Dan Flynn. Could be a good podcast topic. In earlier episodes, Chris takes a lot of managing a dog's career, talks about a lot of managing a dog's career. I would like to hear anyone's thoughts on running the earlier stakes when you have goals of high level. Those people that have the intention of a GRHRCHQAA dog, what benefit are you going to get from running your dog in started and seasoned, or even any more finished tests than necessary to enter the grand? Would love to hear what pathways dogs like Flash or Puck, Eric Tizon's dog, or any of Aiken's dogs took.
So, good question. We run HRC first, and then we run master. So we do run started. We just ran a bunch of them a couple weekends ago. We run started because here's the thing. We want to know how that dog is going to mentally react to a hunt test situation. How's it going to mentally react on the road? How's it going to mentally react when it gets there? What you don't want to do is that dog's first hunt test be like finished, because you have no idea what it's going to do. You have no clue what it's going to act like. So we like to run them. We like to run them through started. We get their 10 points. And if the owner wants to get a started title, we do. Then we jumped into seasoned. And then if you got 10 points and started, then you only need 3 season passes to get your season title. Then once you get your season title, you need 4 for finished. So with that being said, we always start in HRC 99.9% of the time. And the reason why we do that is because when you're in running HRC, you can talk to the dog in the test. You can talk to the dog. So if the dog starts moving around, you can stop it by talking to it. A lot of people that start in the AKC venues, you can't talk to your dog as senior and master. And then when they finally get to finished, their dogs are moving all over the damn place because their first hunt test experiences were moving around. And now you got a creeping dog at a test, and they're test wise. So we started in HRC because we can talk to the dog. We typically do run started, we run season, and we run finished. Now, once they're done with finished, we go straight to master. There is no reason to run started, junior, season, senior, finished, master. There's no reason to do that. All you're going to do is explode your dog's head. So we try to keep them running at least the amount of tests as possible at an early age. And we want to instill good hunt test habits, good test habits, good traveling habits, everything about it. So, and we wait until they're mentally ready to do it. Like when we run started, they're pretty close to season. And when we run season, they're pretty close to finished. We're not just, hey, let's just hope for the best and see what happens. Now, even if they're doing season level, finish level work and training, but you get them on the road and they're just they lose their mind, then we stop. We're done. We're done running them in tests until it mentally is ready to go, mentally ready to go. So funny story is Flash is an 11-time Grand Retriever champion. He only has 815 points. He's 11 years old. The reason why he has 11 grand passes is because he only has 815 points. People that chase HRC points for the benefit of thinking, they think 500 points is a big deal, which it is. They think 1,000 points is a big deal, which it is. But if you're chasing points just to chase points, that is the best way to ruin your dog in a heartbeat. Because you're running the dog for now, if your goal is 1,000 points, that's fine. But your goal shouldn't be 1,000 points in 4 years. So let's break that down. Flash has 815 points. 440 of those points are in the grand. 415 are in weekend finish tests. Think about that.
Yeah. He doesn't run very often.
Think about that. So I've trained multiple, he's got 11 grand passes. Jet had 9, O'Malley had 8. Charlie's got 7. I've got a bunch of with like a lot of passes. The only dog that I have trained that is in the HRC Hall of Fame is O'Malley, and he had 1,000 points, but he did that over like a 12-year career, and he had 8 grand passes. Flash has 11 grand passes, and he might get in the HRC Hall of Fame. He might not. It's not a huge deal to me. I am going to have Tanner run him a little bit this summer to work on some points. Jet had 9 grand passes, and he had like 715 points. I don't care. And the reason why he had 9 grand passes is because he had, less points. So, and here's a great example. Boomer, Chris Aiken's famous dog Boomer, had 9 grand passes, and he had like 700 points. So when we're talking about managing a career, is and I see a lot of people too that, let's just say their dog breaks in the first series on Saturday morning. And they're running HRC. And HRC you can keep running. They're like, we'll run him in the afternoon and see what we have. Don't do that. You're running him for no reason. And he broke. So obviously he's not ready to set the line. Don't do that. Don't just say, let's just see what we have. Or if somebody wants test dog, I'll run test dog. Why? You're making your dog test twice for absolutely no reason. So when I talk about managing a career, I don't like to run now. I'm running back-to-back double master tests last weekend and this coming weekend. I hate to do that because it makes them loose, but I really have no choice at this point. And that's what we're going to do. So you got to be careful on why you have to figure out what are your goals? What are your goals? If your goal is a Grand Retriever champion, that is your goal. There's nothing wrong with running started, season, finished. I recommend it because now you know what you have, you know what you're dealing with, and then go from there. Now, should you be running finish tests every single weekend? Absolutely not. No, I don't believe that one bit. So and every dog is different. Like we have a dog named Granger here in training it's owned by Matt Yoakum. His dad was like this. His dad was Ticket. You could literally run Granger every single weekend. He is just that dog. And Ticket was the same dog. They don't get overly high. They don't get overly low. They're very calm. They just like, okay, whatever, let's go. They don't care. And they don't get test-wise. They don't creep. They don't make noise. They don't act any different. And his dad was like that. But Jet, Flash, breaker, you couldn't do that. They're too much dog. So you gotta understand your dog. And if you start seeing them getting bad testing habits, you need to stop. You just need to stop. Because you'll see some people on there, M&H 65. Like, I don't care about that. That just means they ran a bunch of master tests. Or, you see a dog that's got 1,000 HRC points at a 4-year-old. Okay, let's see if you could run that dog when they're 8. That's the key. I always tell people, the best stuff does not happen overnight. It doesn't come quickly. What I like to see is, I don't want to see a 2-year-old phenom. I want to see an 8-year-old phenom, a 9-year-old phenom, a 10-year-old phenom. Those dogs have a career. And yeah, they were probably really good at 2, but you manage your career perfectly, and you can still run. Flash 11 years old and still going. And so that's the key to all that. You got to manage your career.
All right. Well, I think that's a lot of really, really good information there. I think that's a kind of a good stopping point. We only have one question left. But it's a good one. Let's keep it for the future. Guys, submit questions over on the Facebook group, or the best way to do it is patreon.com/Jobman, and come and watch these episodes and get yourself signed up for the hunt giveaway and come out and hang out and hunt with us and watch Chris make fun of me as I whiff on the 410.
It's the best ever. The best ever.
I don't want to be sexist, but I will say it's not the best thing in the world to whiff when you're in the hot seat and then give the gun to the girl and she crushes a mallet on the first shot 5 minutes later.
It's the greatest thing ever. Elliot, I watched Eileen shoot birds in front of guys with 410s 20. You're not the first one it's happened to, and you won't be the last. It's fantastic. It's so fun. I can't wait to do it again.
It's a fun place, man. I can't wait to get back out there. I didn't go last year, and I'm pumped. So patreon.com/Jobman, come get signed up with us, guys. Let's close her down.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll see everybody at the line. Take dead aim.